Alright, let's go ahead and get started here. Let's see how this goes. Alright, where was I? I don't know actually. It's been a while. Let's do Gunhead. Let's do Gunhead and let's go and get let's get Nighttime Stairway. First try. It's bound to happen, right? Never lucky.
Today is the day.
I have to get used to, in the last patch they fixed the whole issue in regards to having the awareness meter over enemies. So it's a bit trippy now not seeing it anymore. Alright, up we go. I might actually put with HUD on today. It's actually kind of trippy. Hey Josh, how's it going? I'm doing well, thanks. Just getting situated in my new place. Is that a crash? No, just stutter. Oh, that's new. I'm guessing you can get Captain Chin on this map, actually? Let's find some explosives. Hey Dubs, how's it going? I mean, I was exhausted on the days I was actually moving, yeah. Both moving out and moving in. Moving in wasn't so bad though, actually, because I didn't bring a lot of stuff with me. No. No. I'm gonna die. Hey Game Shift, how's it going? You getting shot at still? Okay, I'm very low on HP. Let's turn the HUD on, actually. Yeah, that's not good. Ow. Sir, please reload. There we go. Everything's fine. Everything's a-okay. Are you a cyborg? Nope. No. It's I moved in Monday. No, it's not that bad. I've been getting situated for the last few days. This is okay. Nothing to worry about here. Just don't ever get shot again. No, I'm all moved in. Everything's unpacked for the most part. You know, asterisk mark because there's a few things in the bag. But no, it's all good. The only like big thing that's changed is the internet provider's changed for the worse. So like I'm doing just YouTube today, and then Monday I'll include Twitch probably if this goes well. Essentially my upload cap is 35 as opposed to 1,000 now. So like I had to be very careful about making sure I have enough overhead. It shouldn't be an issue, but also it's something to be, you know, cautious about. And we're probably gonna experience like maybe 1 to 2 stutters a stream, I imagine. But thankfully YouTube does do a little bit of buffering, so it should be okay.
Dumping targets.
Twitch will probably be worse though, I imagine. Am I gonna live through this? I would just jinx myself by saying that, but... yeah, I guess we are. Not even close. I don't think so. Like, maybe, but I would doubt it. Like, it's not really an issue yet, it's just a potential issue, because I'm very familiar with this ISP. Because I've had them before. It's just pretty bog standard gimbal company in America. Like, I've had to reset the modem router once since I've been here, but like, other than that, it's been acceptable. So we'll just have to see. Alright, cannot believe I lived. I would just have to go around and see. I don't think it's probably necessary, but I can peruse that if it's really bad, which I don't think it's gonna be. I feel like satellite would probably be worse, but I do not know. All right, let's play some Babel. It's been a hot second. I think they patched a few times while I was gone too, so I'm guessing probably much more playable now, as opposed to just a pure chaos. Oh yeah, presets got fixed too, so I gotta redo my presets. AK. Good enough. I think that's perfectly fair. Scav girl's just cursed. All right, Heisenberg. And Bell. Actually, I'm kind of curious, actually, if, like, the stealth rig is nice, but would it just be better just to bring a pneumatic jump to get around the map better? Mainly just that one avenue to the left, right?
Remember, we keep what we kill.
Like, you can't get up there without a jump. And like using that area up there is a very useful area to get around from. Yeah, free part, I haven't found one either, but I haven't been playing recently, so apparently it just spawns on the ground. People were saying they spawn on Scrapyard pretty consistently. I mean, like, not consistently, but they found them on Scrapyard. I imagine the smaller areas on Scrapyards are nice too. Like, if it's pretty impactful, actually, Lewis. I don't know, I haven't actually seen yet. But yeah, Lewis, it's very impactful. It makes you much stealthier. It basically makes audio, like, they can still see you, but the audio perception's basically gone. So like if you're running around, they can't hear you anymore, which is nice because being able to sprint past these guys is very helpful. They can still see you though. And I didn't see they fixed that game shift, but I imagine they probably still do. Yeah, but it does have a real downside though, right? It's one medium slot, and that's it. So no large slot at all, and like you can't bring that much to shoot with. Oh, is the ragdoll bugged in multiplayer? Yeah, Lewis, it's definitely great for that. It's great for just like any time where you don't want to be sane, or just want to speed run through things. So like I didn't play enough Babel yet, so I actually have like no idea where this stuff spawns at. I know where the guy we need to rescue is, but I don't know where the lost memento is. Hey Michael, yeah, no Twitch today. We're just doing YouTube today, and we're gonna see how it runs, and if it runs all well, that means Monday will be Twitch. And I had the announcements off on Discord for today because I was testing a few things out and I didn't want to spam everyone with notifications. So like today is like a good test stream day, and then Monday will be back to normal. I don't think I bought a single game during summer sale actually. I looked around a bit too, just nothing like caught my eye. Up we go. 1-7. No, you love mother. Frickin' goon. Everyone shame the goon. The goon. Oh, you bought Half-Life 2? Yeah. A little late to that party. I'm sure it still holds up pretty well though. I'm like, what is the memento? Oh, I just actually, Blood, I just have what's it called, the EA pass for that. Though I honestly should just buy Battlefield 1. It's the only one I play out of all of them. Can I get up there? With a jump I could.
Christmas.
Are they expecting you to, I guess, go down that way, I guess? For the gacha? Yeah, like that's... I kind of felt the same way, Game Shift, in regards to Resident Evil. I kept thinking about buying it, but I know I wouldn't actually, like... I feel like I would install them, but never play them, yeah. Though I will say I will be definitely buying the Remote expansion later today and messing around with that this weekend. Along with other things. I think RimWorld's expansion, if you're familiar with RimWorld, right, it's always had this thing where it wants you to like kind of lean into exploring the world, at least at certain elements of the game or certain points of the game, but it was always kind of like not easy to do. And the new RimWorld expansion, or the patch, or yes, expansion, I think is gonna solve that massively. Yep, it's out today, Blood. Memento? No, it's just a backpack. I played Ready or Not a bit. I haven't reinstalled it for a very long time. I've never been really that into SWAT games. Like, they're fun. I'll play them for like an hour or two, but like I won't touch it again for like years. I need to bring a drill for that. My God. It looks so good. This would be like a great area too to like show off like distant combat also. Imagine like seeing like gunships going through the areas in between skyscrapers. I mean, I like Ready or Not too, just that like I just don't generally vibe with SWAT games all that much. It's a very great looking map, yeah. I just need more gameplay area. But no, like this scene right here is amazing. Though I was trying to look at the view, game. I was looking out. Freaking random hole in the floor. When I was, it knew I was about to critique the floating building distance. Yes, it just destroyed the floor underneath me and killed me. That was scripted. No, yeah, like the floating building distance looks a little weird. Other than that, looks great. But yeah, let me actually, in contrast, bring just a normal rig. With a pneumatic jump. Huh, interesting. Alright, pneumatic jump. Shotgun for funsies. I think that's the case, right? But like it's 3D printed and like by like actual construction robots, Game Shift, not by like giant printers. So as opposed to like having like an actual printer, you have these robots that go around and print the buildings out. That's not bad, I think. Oh, with the stealth backpack, Michael. Who doesn't love a good lorem ipsum? Yeah, I can't remember like what's like. There's a caveat to them, right?
It's always the same up here.
And I will say, I actually like the key thing I like about this area here, like this little small area. It's like it does kind of fulfill like the scav wish more of like finding some non-traveled area that requires some tool to get to and let you bypass large segments of the map or just bypass areas you don't want to go to, right? Like this as a whole is a very cool area, despite the size of the map being really small. I don't think any of the maps are visible from other maps, except like the only thing is the, what's it called? There's a giant skyscraper you can see on a few of the maps, like Elephant and I think Scorched. Or not, sorry, not Scorched, but it's a few of the maps. The Mech Trench isn't Scorched, or it's like 2 or 3 of the maps you can see the same building off in the distance. But it's in the skybox area, it's not in the actual, like, playable area. Alright, so where was I? Alright, so that's where I fell down, I guess. Let's avoid the hole. Anyway. Yeah, floating building. Technically it's not floating per se, it's got two structural beams. Oh, you can? Interesting, quad eye. Where the hell did you come from? It's just floating there, ominously. All right. Okay. Well, while I'm here, might as well drill. It wants to move, but it can't. It's twitching. Really? All of that for a locked container? Battle's feeling kind of chill right now, actually. I guess they tempered out the spawns a bit. Oh, hi. Oh, the Scar. It's not even close. The Scar is like the one gun in the game that's actually like has a distinct identity in the game right now. Like, it's not even remote, like there's not it's the Scar, there's not even a comparison that's close by. It's just the Scar. It doesn't actually, no. The RPK has the problem that, like, mechanically, it fulfills the same niche as, like, every other rifle. I actually haven't, Blood. I haven't seen his little codex around at all. And I haven't played much since they put him out, but, you know, I'm sure we'll see him eventually. I could just go grind Scrapyard until we find him. Like, yeah, like the for the FAL, like the M4, the AK, just like all of those guns, the RPK, they just kind of all fulfill the same exact use case, right? Of just silenced assault rifle. The Scar actually introduces like a different paradigm where it's like, hey, you have this really powerful rifle, it can't be silenced, and it kind of is a bit clunky to shoot. So like it offers you a fair trade-off, right? Of like no silencer but power, which and heavy ammo too, right? Just a nice trade-off. Yeah, it's a problem with a lot of guns, right? It's like, yeah, just the same stats. Understood. Meet Patty. I haven't seen him yet IRL or in person, so I need to see like actually what he looks like in person before I start naming him. Let's do a few scrap here and see if we can see him. He's just basically a reskinned Orgamech, right? I mean, Vero, but yeah, like, that's perfectly fine, right? If it's just, like, if the only thing you're interested in is aesthetics, that's perfectly fine and well, but, like, that's not mechanically interesting to me at all. I want guns to feel different, not just look different. The fact that all these assault rifles look and feel like they play the same basically is, like, I think, like, I can bring almost all of these rifles and they play exactly the same. Sure, you'll have a different vibe with them because of their aesthetics, but yeah. Okay, you know what, let's bring out the Scar. Vendors. I don't actually have much 50 cal left. I might need to do a run on Mech Trench and start stocking up again. So we'll do Scar. And I think, yeah, shotgun again. You mean like they would only have that many guns? Like, are you saying like characters should have unique guns game shift, or just that they have like only 2 guns they can use? Well, Arc, I mean, you gotta keep in mind too that if you've played the current like version of Beta Decay and like Alpha, it's equivalent to this, right? Like the current Beta Decay version, if you have access to it, is literally just a tech demo, and this kind of is too, right? There's not progression in either game yet. Both are aspiring to have that, but like it doesn't exist currently. So naturally, it doesn't feel good because it doesn't exist. I do agree with you overall. Like, there needs to be some type of progression.
This is it. We decide what happens next.
I didn't bring a scanner. You're probably right. I should have brought one just for like finding it on the ground. But like, it's not a big map. I can just look around. No, Michael, I'm not. I don't generally like exploit the game as much as like. there's not much merit in using an exploit to get something on a character that you shouldn't have access to. I mean, if you want to do it for fun, then perfectly fine. But like, I can't say the stealth bag on Bagman's overpowered, considering it's not supposed to be on him in the first place. Yeah, Lewis, I do agree with you in regards to that. I mean, it's kind of like to the point where it's already just too far gone, I think, to do that, but like, maybe we'll get something in the future. And like, the last thing I want to do, to be personally honest, is like, I don't want to have something that's like an exploit on my character. Hold on. This is fine. Crowd surfing. If I do something like that on stream, people were gonna join and ask me how I did it, and so it will just be a stream of explaining how to do this exploit over and over again. Are we good? We're good. So we are looking for a codex. It might not be on the map. We'll just look around for it a little bit. We probably should have brought a tac cam for it. Okay, they still run at Mach 1. My god. I have forced it through par. I have yet to be grabbed without me trying to force it. Like with the audio cue plus the long windup of it, it's usually pretty easy to get out of it before they grab you. I do hope they have the ability for like teammates to help you if you get grabbed, but like I'm currently fine with how it is. Did you not hear the audio cue, Varo, or just like you didn't have time to respond to it? Sure, there's a lot going on in Babel too, right? You might just miss it. Oh, it flew through a building. That's probably just a bug then, right? If it got you through a building. That sounds like a bug report.
Perfection.
Did it not play the audio cue at all? I wonder if the tac cam kind of droned out the audio cue. Yeah, I mean, Vero, like, at that point, though, right, it's just a bad situation for you to be in. Like, if you're getting shot by an exo and the drone grabs you, that's kind of, like... That's kind of the use case of the drones execute, right? Is that, like, if you're being overwhelmed, it's supposed to introduce an extra stressor. The good old, like, hammer and anvil. Distract and flank. Why do the hands do that? Are you shooting it? All right, are you 1, 2, or 3? You're 2. You're 3. So you're 1. All right. Back to 2. I wouldn't go on the ground though, actually. Carrying the jammer? I think the jammer only works if it's on that quest for Frozen Swamp, right? Or are you talking about the signal jammer? The grenade. That's just when you throw it, and it's only for, I think, reputation loss currently. Not feeling very safe right now. All right, it's not here. I think it's time to leave. We'll find Mr. Meatman or Meat Patty eventually. I mean, I think it's only it's a quest item, right? And like you install it into a radio tower for, you know, boosting purposes. So I don't think so, no.
Hands won't stop shaking. Must a good sign.
I mean, that would be a cool craftable though eventually. Hold on. Are you talking about the grenade? Are you referring to... You're referring to this right here, the scrambler? There's a quest on Frozen Swamp. I think you might have picked up a quest item and then went back to your innards with the quest item and didn't actually finish the quest. Hold on. We'll do Water Wars, why not? I'll go find it on Frozen Swamp real quick. There's also the crafting component. Crafting component too. Oh, that's a good point, actually. I need to do that. God, my throat right now. Anyway, I have not. I need to go to Elephant Mausoleum and do that. I'm still on find his last part. Yeah, I think he's talking about like this, right? Where if I can get the quest to actually populate. I'm like 99% sure. Yeah, clear skies. There we go. Right? Yeah, the drone scanner or jammer off of the clear skies quest. It only works if you just install it on the quest. It's a quest item, right? It's not. It doesn't have use outside the quest itself, at least currently. And yeah, I'm at like almost the end. Yeah, the wetware system is currently, I think, on Elephant Mausoleum. Let's do that real quick. I think he spawns around there, or it spawns around there. Let's go ahead and bring a tac cam. I shouldn't use a scar for this, but whatever. And we're good. Wait. I need to go look at that.
I hate the surface.
All right, Mr. Pile of Orgamex. No, that's like every quest objective though. If you can bring it back to your innards if you don't complete the quest. You could actually one of the quests that you what's it called? One of the quests for the totem, you could actually repeat it a few times and like duplicate the actual totem by not turning the quest in. Are you kidding me? The new map is, it is small, but it's like, out of the smaller maps, it's one of the more interesting ones, because it's got a lot of like, it's got a decent amount of verticality to it. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's pretty decent. No, that's a big thing right now, Blood, is that like a lot of these units can die, just that we can't kill them. Alright, whatever. There we go, there's wetware. It is a small map, but like for a small map, it actually has a decent amount of complexity. I do wish it was bigger or had more verticality, but like for a first iteration small map, it actually does have some pretty good pathing through it. Like, if your complaint about Scrapyard is too simple, it will do a good job of solving that issue for you. It's also a very pretty map also. It's got a lot of good sight lines. And like, on that note too, there's probably, it's probably pretty modular, I'd imagine too, right? They could probably add a lot more to it pretty easily. It's already got the framework around it. I just hope they build up, to be honest. I want to see more verticality. Maybe Lewis, or just feedback in general, right? It also makes sense too, considering like they're going pretty quickly. Like a patch every month is very quick, and so like, I mean, if the maps were a lot bigger or a lot more like complexity to them, it would not be like a map every month or two. It'd be a map every couple months, like 3 to 4. Well, like, Michael, a big thing is I think there's generally afraid of having areas on maps that aren't like chock full of events and like sight lines and things like that. No, I think they could do a lot with a lot less. Like, they don't need, like, all of the detail in this area is great, but like, I would rather have a little bit more room to maps. Like, as opposed to having a very detailed room like this, I would honestly like prefer a few more of these rooms if it meant they're like a little bit less detailed. I want more like depth to maps. Don't get me wrong, I really like the aesthetics too, but when the aesthetics are coming at a cost of like more content for maps, I kind of want more content for maps. All right, let's see if this still works. Isolation, yeah, or just a bit more of like pacing reprieves too, right? A lot of the maps are like all gas, no brake. Sir, hold still. Alright, let me see if this still works.
Everyone for themselves.
No, I think they fixed it. The ruiners of fun. So, like, back when they first introduced knockdown, you could actually clip through a lot of the walls with grenades. As long as there was something like, as long as there was like an open void on the other side, you could get through them. I mean, SD Gamer, that's like, I think that's almost asking the wrong question.
As long as I'm the last one standing.
I think the better question is, can they make unkillables interesting for solo players? The like, it's not just through weapon, like the avenue of heavy weapons, right? Like, I feel like a lot of your frustration, this is once again me projecting or assuming, right? But like, I feel like your frustration's less about like, they have a toy that I don't have. It's more about they can solve the problem of unkillables and I can't. It doesn't always have to be through heavy weapons.
Count.
I mean, like, Fruit Park, keep in mind though, right? Like, considering the current canonical lore is that, like, the reason why we're not killed on the spot is because they don't care. If we start bringing, like, they know that we're there, but they don't care. Do you think that us suddenly carrying around an RPG might start make them caring a lot more? Like, if the trade-off for like having an RPG was that like the second you load onto a map, there's hunter killers coming after you. Like, is that even something you would want to entertain? I can't shoot you when you're in the ceiling. Right, yes I can. I mean, Wiki, you can take a railgun for a solo run if you want to exploit, yeah. Like, that's your prerogative if you want to do that. Yeah, then and gamer in that regard, that I would almost feel like your pain point is just more solving the unkillable problem than anything else, and making them more approachable. Hey, Eric. Yeah, I mean,
I think they spotted us.
I don't know, like, there is the classic dilemma of like standing on a rock to kill unkillables, like melee unkillables, right? Yeah, I kind of do prefer that balancing approach easier, more Blood Pandas, like make the unkillables killable, but make them so lethal that they're virtually unkillable. It does like really highlight the issue of like standing on a rock, but it is what it is. Just add ways around that, I guess. It is a kind of a rabbit hole though. All right, out we go.
Let's never do that again. Until the next.
Yeah, it's not like it's game design, but it's also on the maps too, right? Like it is a multifaceted issue. Like you can solve the issue of like players standing on rocks by just giving them no rocks to stand on. But like that means like map-wise you'd be very thorough in making sure players cannot get on anything that you cannot get at the NPC's path to. Alright, we'll do one more Scar run, because I love this thing so much. Though it does, I think they did, someone was saying that apparently they nerfed it a bit to the point where cyborgs can't get killed by it in one shot anymore, which is a little sad, but is what it is. Alright, I'm gonna need some more meds. Probably bring a few drills because it's that map. And we should be good. Water thieves, jammer, tag cargo. I mean, yeah, Michael, there's always rock, but like, you can do a pretty good job of making areas where like rock is not easily accessible, right? The easiest way of just is giving them ranged attacks and having no pure melee units in the game.
This is it. We decide what happens next.
Yeah, I think a key part that's not really translated very well or is kind of lost is that like, it's not that the AI doesn't know that we're here, allegedly, it's more that they just don't care because we're not a big enough threat. It's only from time and proximity do they actually start caring. And like the current HK system supposed to highlight that kind of in a way that like the more of a threat you are and the more the threat they can realize that you are is like they're going to proactively start dealing with you. So if you bring a railgun in, if you bring in a RPG, right, you're suddenly a much bigger threat than you were before. Yeah, this jammer is just what it is. Just a quest item. Yeah, I kind of think that's what they kind of were alluding to when like Mother Courage sits down now, when she can't path to you. It's more of like she can't deal with you, but she knows you're there, so she's gonna hang out and wait you out, basically. Throwing cyborgs would be cool too. And like weirdly enough, that would be like almost a prime example of like what a hunter-killer system should be. Like, for example, if you ambush a mother or a mother aggroes to you and you stand on a rock and she can't deal with you, she's the one who calls an HK backup that can deal with you, right? Oh, I did not yet. Good call. Totally forgot about Lordos. Ow. No, I think most everyone is pretty unanimous about that. Like, I don't think anyone currently loves the HK system in the current iteration. Captain, not today. So today is a test stream just for today. Everything going well, I'll have Twitch back on Monday. But like, if I had Twitch and YouTube going right now, if anything bad happened, I wouldn't be able to like figure out if it was just because I had too much going on at the same time, or do I just need to like have only one stream going on. So if today goes well with a regular stream, if I add Twitch Monday and something goes wrong, I might have an idea that it might be too many things going on at once. So my internet is technically worse here.
Don't miss. Make every shot count.
So it's mainly just from like making sure I only add one variable at a time sort of step. Yeah, they're so fast. Yeah, I do think that I like the stagger is way too long. Not the stagger, but the knockdown's way too long. As long as they're like, my biggest complaint about this is right. Like, I would much rather the knockdown be way shorter, but actually not be iframed right. Like, that seems like a fair trade-off to me, right? Like a much shorter stagger or like knockdown, but like you're not protected by iframes when you get knocked down.
We decide what happens next.
Because it does just feel weird when you get surrounded by cyborgs and they have to like wait for you to stand up before they can maul you to death. Yeah, there needs to be some escalation to HKs, and I think that's probably just because like they lack the units right now to actually do that, like a proper like HK escalation. Because it does feel weird, right, when you can like kill a bunch of your opens and get a grabber. Like, why does the grabber care? Yeah, Michael, it's kind of the amount of gaminess where I don't want them in the game at all. Like, that feels like a... That's the type of gaminess that pulls me out of the game, right? Where I, like, if that's some type of, like, of meta you need to do to get around something where you need to, like, stagger yourself to iframe yourself, that's, like, it totally removes you from the game. No, gamer, I agree. Like, it should be shorter, plus like you should just like that should be the lethality of units though, right? Like, you should not remember this is supposed to be an anti-shooter, right? Like, an exo should be a giant threat. It should not just be some chaff you have to like deal with or kill. Gary, I have no idea. I don't think I've heard anything about hacking yet at all. I mean, we have the hacking minigame for like doors and consoles, but I haven't seen anything about drones at all. All right, get jammed. Yeah, I think Lewis, a lot of it too is just like leaning into, like right now the only really tool you have access to deal with a lot of scenarios is just guns. So like them adding more tools to help you deal with scenarios outside of guns, I think will really reinforce the anti-shooter aspect. And like right now, for example, too, like when they start giving you tools to deal with combat or units in non-combat ways, they can start upping the lethality of units, I feel like, a bit more, because you're not supposed to fight them. You're supposed to avoid them. Like, fighting in a way should be a last resort or for a very specific purpose. And keep in mind too, like, the XO is like shooting with a 20mm bullet, right? For most purposes, that should just like basically missed you. Granted, it's a game, so it doesn't, but like still, like it is, you are getting shot by a 20mm autocannon, basically. I don't need to be here, actually. I can just go over to the train yard over there. I mean, they can currently, Lewis. Yeah, like everyone doesn't get one shot by the EXO currently, but it does knock you on your ass. Well, like, gamer, on that point though, right? Because you kind of have to. There's not, I mean, there's the distraction grenade now, which is nice, but like, there's not really any tools out. Like, the easiest tool for you to do is to just shoot them and go through them, right? So it means that you shoot them and go through them. And sometimes that should be the right choice, but like, there's no other counterpoint right now. Yeah, the poor X's are outfitted with riot rounds. 20mm rubber bullets, which I'm pretty sure would still fucking kill you. If you got shot by a 20mm rubber round, the rubber ain't gonna save you. I mean, yeah, smokes, flashbangs, like disorientation grenades, they can do that too, right? There's lots of different solutions to like adding utility items to the game. That's done. I mean, Gary, what do you got? I'm running a 5800X and a 3080. What the hell are you? It's a very beefy trade. Though I will say, the actual containers here are comically like underutilized. I've seen some like one pallet trucks in my day, but like this takes it to a whole new level, right? I mean, Gary, do I need to elaborate then? And don't get me wrong, like I'm not sure how to. I'm curious how the Titan still performs against like more modern cards and benchmarks. It's been so long. The Titan's based off the 1080, like the 1000 series architecture, right? Like the 1080. You get me wrong, the 1080s were, you know, god tier cards in their day. Remember back in the day when like when you were an enthusiast and you spent big money on a card but it lasted forever? Oh man, the good old 1080 days. The GTX 1080 is freaking goated. You know, Lewis, you are correct. The Titan is a rendering slash workhorse card. It's not meant for gaming. But if I recall correctly, it was off the Titan is based off that architecture. It's just the work version of it. It was either that or the 20 series. All right. Let me turn these quests in real quick. All right, Lordos. You want cigarettes now? Fuck you, Lordos. I mean, it's not surprising. Until AI pops game shift, they're gonna keep going up. Either AI pops it or just the whole whole market, you know, pops it. But until then, it's gonna keep going up. It's kind of been the prevailing theme for a while now, right? Of just buy the dip perpetually. So every small dip, everyone will just start buying it up again. I didn't finish, I think on this account, Lewis, the whole Lordos chain. I think I finished on my alt account. So it could be that I need to finish the actual cigarette part before he does anything. It could also be this is part 1 of a part 2, maybe. Half of Lordos is in here. But it's soft, Michael. That means it won't kill you on impact. Keep in mind, too, you gotta keep in mind also that usually the velocities of the non-lethals are a lot lower. Wait, do I have nose? Ah, whatever. Let me get off the scar for at least a little bit. M16, M16. And 36M. All right. Little 20 mil. M16. That's plenty. A jump. Let's find our quests now. Okay, I actually just want cigarettes perpetually. Understood. The problem is, SD Gamer, I don't usually buy that many AAA games nowadays, so I don't really have a good frame of reference or comparison. I mean, if I'm gonna say, if we're referring to, maybe, base Cyberpunk back in the day, right? It's better. I mean, base Cyberpunk was really fucking bad, though. Really bad. Yeah, I'm not really big in Monster Hunter, so I'm unfamiliar. No, Survivor, that is nice. I think there needs to be a lot more added to them, right? or rather more variations too. Like, if doing A always causes B, it kind of, I feel, takes you out of the game a bit. I do like the idea of having like slight variations, like doing A can cause A, B, or C to happen as opposed just to A. So for example, blowing up the radar tower and mech trench will always cause the Captain Chen to spawn. I would love to see a little bit more variation of that. Not a lot. I do like the idea of being able to target certain things, but I don't want scenarios where it's only that. Where the hell are these quests? Alright, I would just see payback, which is Yureska. I don't think, did payback get cut? Neither have I yet, actually, Survivor. Kind of saving myself. I just need to actually find... Ooh, car crash. That's what I get for, trying to force a certain quest. Though I have been seeing a bit more crashes recently, I think, right? Yeah, the top area stairway is weird. There's gotta be some terrain issue going on there. Alright, we'll just do 2 for now. So, gamer, it's not Meatman's body, it's, it is, you were trying to find his codex that can spawn like a gacha on maps, right? The only problem, to my understanding, is it's not 100% spawn. So, like, it is just RNG, basically, if you find it. Yeah, I can't remember what NVIDIA driver I'm on now. To be fair, that is pretty peak NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA's been putting out some very shitty drivers recently, to be quite frank. Like, their NVIDIA's quality control on their drivers has gone insanely down. Back in the day, I would say, like, keep your drivers up to date for an NVIDIA, but I would not say that currently. Alright, no sniper. Tormentor could be down there. They are not, or they're already dead. Yeah, I'm thinking that probably like Scrapyard's a good way of finding it. Just because Scrapyard's a small map. Like, if you really want to force Meatman, it's probably Scrapyard. No, they did a good job too, right? Like, I noticed this earlier when I was testing things out. I can't recall if that was always rendered in that far away. But you can see how pixelated it is, right? But like, that's perfectly fine LOD for distance, right? Having more of that in the distance would be so nice. Like, that's perfectly fine. Like, it is pixelated, but, you know, when you're not looking directly at it, it fits the background well. I would rather have more of those slightly pixelated than nothing at all. I imagine a Due Time Survivor, we are kind of like They have said before, I think multiple times, that they have like a breadth of units. It's just that it takes time to implement them. So it's like an if, not it's a when, not an if. Yeah, Gary, on that note too, I want them to explore the space outside maps also. It's probably like a very low priority for them because it's just strictly ambiance and not gunplay. But seeing things happen outside the map makes the conflict feel a bit more grounded, I think. Like it's hard for maps to feel like battles when it's only happening inside of the little cell area that you're currently in, right?
Work our way through.
I came in, I shot the 20mm once, and then now I'm hated. Wait, am I stuck? Here we go. Alright, what do I got? Who has come for me? Is that a... I hope that's not a hunter killer. No, I mean Hussar, that's the thing with the 20mm. If you... Intrusive thoughts. If you shoot the 20mm, if you kill one unit with the 20mm, it causes HKs to spawn. I will say this medium mech is being pretty zen right now. Is it not shooting its main gun though? Oh, flying tanks. How I missed thee.
Work our way through.
Yes, remember the new map is great, right? It's got like it's got an appropriate like level of like out of bounds like atmospherics going on too, especially if they start adding more units outside. What faction mercenary? It's kind of just RNG though too. They're just rare drops. You should come here. Come on, Stallion, take me. You can only... Whoops, hold on. Hold on, hold on. You can only do it on the gun. Okay, apparently he can stop me when I'm on his gun. Yeah, if you're on his model, it will bounce you off, but you can stand on top of the gun. Apparently, though, we triggered his melee animation that killed us irrespective of height, though, so that's fair. Alright, we didn't find Sniper or Tormentor. Let's run it back quickly. Let's do like an assassin run. Wait, I don't have a grenade launcher? That's lame. Just bring a few meds in because this will be quick. So Ashen, and then we have Sniper and then Tormentor. I mean, gamer, keep in reference, right, of like anti-shooter, right? I'm not saying the player should never feel powerful, but like the player should feel powerful sparingly and at great cost and at great consequence. Like scavenger power armor is leading into like that guy slash like mercenary vibe, right? I feel like it's kind of it's like antithetical to the actual point of the game. Speaking of antithetical, oh god. Stop knocking me down. Agency, I want agency back. I had the stealth backpack. That was not fair. I was being so stealthy. Stealth backpack. You know what? We made a mistake too. Why be Scav Girl when he can be useful old man, or I guess masked man? I like how like Lordos gave me like a bunch of grenade launcher rounds, which I already have plenty of. Thanks, Lordos. Very kind. Alright, we're gonna bring a scanner, I think, and a jump. I do think they probably need to add like one more level of nuance to the stagger states. So there's like stagger, there's knockdown, but there probably needs to be like an in-between of like a longer stagger for like things like explosives. I don't know. It feels weird when like you get a little bit clipped by a rocket and getting launched onto your ass for 5 seconds. All right, meds. I do think, gamer, like the fact, like, yeah, maybe it's the fact that they're apart, but like, yeah.
I hate the surface.
To be fair, if they made it that the railgun by itself, if you brought parts in, you immediately got HKs. Like as of right now, right? Nothing in the game currently, I think, instantly triggers HKs off spawn. You have to do something on the map, like at least one thing, like shoot an enemy. Pick up an item, right? I don't think I've seen HKs happen until you do one of those. I could be wrong on that. I mean, I just haven't explored enough, but like, I'm pretty sure like you have to do at least one thing on the map for you to actually get HKs. There's never a point where you go onto a map and you instantly have one. Even with the 20mm rifle, right? It's still like you have to shoot first. Did he already die? I think he did. I would classify that, Michael, though, as under like something you've done to trigger it. Granted, it's persistent through maps. But like if you hack the radars, you go back to the map and like, you know, it happens again. That's just persistence. Not necessarily like that, like you already know the cause, right? Yeah, the shield officer is a bit different though, right? Like that's less about like insta HKs, it's more about persistence of HKs, right? That's more showing you that during your entire time of like having that effect active, you're going to have the consequence of like doing that action. Hey Jacob, how's it going? I'm doing well. Just in the new place. Alright, I do not see Tormento. No, hey, stop that. Are you? Alright, whatever. I mean, Michael, they're very important pictures. I don't feel safe. I mean, we kind of already saw that with, like, water thieves, right? That's the whole thing with water bots, Survivor, is that, like, your water bots aren't careful about going back to your innards, so they can bring scavengers back with them, or, like, you know, an invasion back with them. So it's kind of like already been shown off in the game a little bit, so it could be fleshed out more. Yeah, unfortunately, like, we came here, and I guess the sniper was already dead.
I think they spotted us. Good for us.
No, I think it's better, Michael, if they're just pictures.
This is what it's all for.
So there we go.
I think they spotted us.
I will say something too, right? It makes sense for EODs, but like, there is the element too where like I do feel like what happens to the player should happen to the NPCs also, and vice versa. Unless there's like clear cases where it's like, it makes sense why it doesn't. Like, for example, against conventional infantry, us knocking them down with a grenade launcher. Jacob, that terminal, I believe, does drones, if I recall correctly, in this area and another area. Really? There you go. There we go. There's the knockdown. Is the grenade bug back? There we go. I could have swore it felt fixed a patch or two ago. I mean, I know that, Michael, yeah, the red light above me, like, yeah, that's HKs. I'm more of in the sense of, like, I could have swore, like, last, like, major patch, like, before they did the hot fixes, they actually... You can shut up behind too? Yeah, I am. They fixed the grenade issue not doing splash damage. There we go. Everyone's dead. I said everyone's dead. That doesn't mean spawn right again around the corner.
This is it. We decide what happens next.
My god, 3. Yeah, it's probably like it. I am Survivor. I imagine that the problem they might have mentally right now with that is it probably requires a bit more. The problem I see, right, is if you give like the guys right now, every enemy and weapon's just done with HP, right? Weapons do HP damage, units have HP, there's no armor in the game, right? And so if you made an AT weapon, it would naturally have to have a lot of HP damage because that's the only way to do damage versus enemies, is just do lots of HP damage. So like tanks and mechs have more. And the problem becomes like making sure the enemies can't use them against the player, but also making sure the enemies just don't stand there while they have an AT weapon out and just like not die and fold over. So essentially you probably need to have an enemy type that actually has 2 weapons probably, and like will only pull out and use the rocket against vehicles unless you want players to get potentially one shot by AT infantry. Which doesn't sound all that fun, to be honest. Like, do you really want rocket boys running around one-shotting you? I don't think they would go to the hassle of doing backblast if they were gonna do that, but I mean they could. Man, I remember like the OG Ghost Recon, right? Pascal, just don't pay attention to weight at all. Weight's very janky. I just don't think about it. There is weight and volume, by the way, so like you have weight down here and capacity being volume. So some things will like take up more space but weigh less. So like for example, I might have a max weight of 20 kilograms in here, but like I might only have a certain amount of space able to produce that. Now I would say the weight system currently is either highly buggy or just highly unrefined, so I wouldn't look that much into it. I mean, Michael, the grenade launchers don't actually one-shot you though, right? Even if they hit you in the face, they don't one-shot you. I'm actually kind of, wait, hold on here. I'm kind of curious. So, every single raid you do is technically a reset of these quests. Is that what's causing the game to crash? Is if you play for long enough, the quest will reset to the point where it crashes the game. Hold on. Because like naturally, like say for example you're playing for like an hour or 2, right? And you do any of this, or for example you go in and leave and you finish your quests. I'm kind of curious if that's what's causing the crash. I highly doubt it, but it's a thought. Like say for example you get to like 10, 20 raids run and then it just hard crashes you for some reason. I won't do this too much, but I am just genuinely curious if I can reproduce it. Okay, you never got a crash? Okay, so this is not related at all. All right, cemetery. We have tunnel vision, free from shadows, and bearing secrets. Who made the video, Jim Bob? I'm curious.
Still alive.
I'd rather like, I'm gonna take your word for it. That's what they said, but I'd like to like watch it too and get like the actual like their explanation or their arguments. Hey, Jamie. They start up again, actually. I've been on break for about 2 to 3 weeks. Oh, hey, dog. I forgot you exist. Close the door. No worries. Welcome back, Jamie. So, finding so many people dedicated to art with not enough resources on gameplay side to give everyone major overhauls that needs to join the mainstream people. Okay, thank you. Video's long. What's video's really all right. The longness kind of makes me kind of question it a bit. This is probably just some, you know, talking head format. I feel like you're following me. You never path this way. All right, time to run. Jocko, I think at this point the demo is like a patch or two behind, so like it's not gonna be as performative. It's gonna be better. I did notice, Shagger. I gave. What are you doing over there? Oh, let me catch up. I think it's okay. So the key thing I'll say here is right. This game is like a $20 to $30 price point, right? If I recall correctly, and it's an indie company of like 20-ish people. And there's always gonna be like lopsided aspects when you have an indie team. There's always gonna be like an element you're gonna be short in, right? Whether it be engineers or artists, right? So for example, this is well past the point, so I can talk about this now. I did some work for Shiro, right? Shiro, a studio in France. I think they're in Bordeaux, if I recall correctly. And the thing about Shiro, right, is Shiro uses a communal art pool, right? They might have 3 to 4 games in development at a time, but they have one art team for the entirety of Shiro, right? And that art team gets allocated to those different projects, a certain amount like per period, right? And that was always a big thing with Dune Spice Wars, is they were always going to be constrained by the amount of art they can put into their game, the amount of animation they can put into their game, because they can only accrue so much bandwidth over time for those artists. So they, for example, they actually had like, I think 6 to 7, I think actual engineers on the game, making the game, and game designers making the game itself, but they always had to keep in the back of the mind that they couldn't probably do or present things they wanted to because of that constraint, right? And in any game, you're always going to have some constraint. And for Fundog, it might be that they don't have as many engineers as they would probably have in proportion to artists, because they started out as artists, right? That's perfectly fine and well. So I'm not. It could be perfectly true that Fundog does not have enough engineers, unless you were to go into their company and look at their structure and talk to them and like survey them. It's kind of hard to theorize if that's the case or not. I mean, game development's complex, right? And considering that we're getting monthly patches that are of, you know, decent size, I'll say, I think it's perfectly fine and well. Would they be able to do more with more engineers? Yeah, but engineers are probably one of the more costlier, like, people to do for game dev, right? Engineers are people doing the programming, right? Like the people with computer science degrees or like engineering degrees, right? Those are the ones who are going to be making 6-figure salaries in your game companies. If not, you know, the highest salaries in game companies, right? So when you're a small little indie studio, they're probably pretty expensive, at least in America, I imagine. So I don't disagree with the take, but like, there's always going to be some cost, right? There's always going to be like, it's an indie company, right? With limited resources and money. And unless you want them to sell out, right? Which will introduce its own issues. Like, there's going to be some caveat. Something they have to come back on. And they even said as much too, right? Where like they have plenty of models like ready to go, but they need to be implemented, right? So like that's kind of pointing to like an engineering or implementation like bottleneck, right? Hey, Matt. Thanks for stopping by. And appreciate the compliment, too. I'll probably start working on the next video for like that, like this weekend, I imagine. I have some free time this weekend, so that'll probably be the first on the docket to start getting like a video in the pipeline. Yeah, I mean, like, the way I kind of see it, for Jim Bob, or for the person's point, is they're probably pointing to more systemic issues in regards to, like, the core gameplay loops. Which I don't necessarily disagree with. But, like, I'm not sure if it's necessarily a bandwidth issue, like not enough engineer issue, or more of like a philosophical issue in what they prioritize, right? Thanks, Stream. Appreciate it. I win. The whole like melee kill plus they set up is so off-putting. Yeah, I mean, there's a certain balance to, right, Survivor. I definitely don't have an issue with the whole like ideology of this developer is going to make the game they want, come hell or high water. As in, like, they're not going to, like, essentially diminish their vision just because of negative feedback, right? Like, they're going to make the game they want to make, and if it does well, it does well. If it doesn't, it doesn't, right? Am I going to actually do these radar towers? Probably not. All right, civilians. But I'll look for that video and see if I can watch it or not and get the whole, like, context of what they're saying. I mean, like, I'm not sure if it's, like, worth an entire, like, long... If it's, like, 30 minutes, that's fine. If it's, like, an hour-long video, I'll be like, alright, does this really need saying over an hour? If it's, like, a video presenting, like, the hypothesis that they don't have enough engineers, like, that... I mean, sure, it's an indie company, right? I'm sure they would love to have more technical people they could hire. Keep in mind, right? Remember, 12 months in a year, and like, when you have these engineers, right? Let's just say like baseline six-figure salary in USD, because engineers demand, you know, they get paid for being engineers. CS degrees are expensive. Well, not CS, like coders are expensive. Like, if each one's making 100K a year, or 100K a year, right? You know, 4 to 5 of them is $500,000 a year, right? Not including things like, you know, benefits and stuff like that too, like overhead. It adds up really quickly. Payroll, there is a reason why companies constantly want to reduce payroll, or rather, companies, like, as a cost-saving measure, like whenever companies want to juice some profit, the first thing they do is axe employees, right? Because employees cost a lot of money.
Burn, baby, burn.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. I do, like... If that's the core point of the video, I don't disagree with it, but at the same time, like, we are kind of... Essentially, I'm kind of more in, like, the hold phase until we see, like, the first iterations of progression. Because progression's supposed to be, like, the first time we should be seeing things mesh together, right? Like, essentially, right now, we're just playing a tech demo that, like, has everything presented to you within the first couple hours, right? Like, once you know what you're doing, you can essentially get the highest rig plus like all the weapons in like 3 to 4 hours, right? If you're really dead set on doing that optimally. That's not really progression, that's more of just like unlocking all the you know, niche features in the game. So once we see like at least where they're going with progression, I'll have a better idea of like, yeah, it is more focused on art as opposed to actual gameplay mechanics. And I will say too, like I do think they don't do a good job on their marketing front of relaying what they want this game to be, I feel like. That's just me. All right. So, D50 cal. I need a better pack mule, actually. Let's do some more Babel. Playing old man. And Babel. Hey Dad, how's it going? Yeah, but I mean, like I've been seeing consistent progress through them. Like for example, the reload animations are getting better, and like weapon animations are getting better. So like it's just like a slow, thorough process or slow process, but they are getting better.
Maybe eating a bullet would be better.
Michael, that's perfectly fair too, right? Like there is, for example, and I like a reason why so many AAA companies just like basically copy mechanics from other games. You're supposed to be a Scar, or like aren't willing to experiment on new things, or for example, when Suits just come in and say add this feature to your game from another genre or game, because they know it sells or don't know it does well. So Michael, I think you are right in the sense that like, yeah, they might be exploring some unexplored space here and they like tread cautiously. But that's like personally for me, like at least at my current time, like that's kind of the issue I have with so many games nowadays. For example, the new Doom game, right? I'm just like, it looks good, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't look like anything I haven't played before, right? So I'm not really interested in it. It just looks like, you know, if you want, you know, an arena shooter, right? Come play Doom. And I'm sure it looks cool and that's really cool doing it, but like, it's not interesting to me at all. That is true, right? And like that comes at the cost, for example, Gamer, of not having the amount of revenue or like rather funding to fund a game like this, right? Like, would you really prefer if Fundog had to sell out and like sell to a suit, but they could hire 10 more engineers so more stuff comes? But at the same side, they have to add more DLC in or more like MTX in the game to the point where they have to sell you stuff? Like, is that a trade-off that you actively want? Survivor, there is a tool called Unreal Engine Unlocker where like you can essentially do that. It's a third-party tool. It's essentially a cheat, but again, it doesn't have anti-cheat, so it's perfectly fine. But yeah. Unreal Engine Unlocker, the generic version of it for UE5, you can do that. Oh, it's just a, okay. You can do that and just watch things, you know, watch battles go on. Oh, game 100%, right? Like, the cost is like, you know, the suits will give you money, but they're gonna want you to put guaranteed ways of making their money back in the game, right? Like MTX or DLC or so on and so forth, right? On the plus side, you'll have more funding for more developers, but on the downside, you know, you'll have to sell out a bit. And oh man, just look at fucking Krafton right now, man, with poor Subnautica 2. For those out of the loop, essentially, I'll give a quick TLDR. Unreal Worlds, the founders the people who made basically a Natural Selection and Subnautica, a couple of years ago, I think 2021, they sold out to Krafton. They maintained control of their company. They just worked under Krafton, and I believe they said the terms of their contract was like, I think 500 million upfront, or maybe it was like 250 upfront plus 250 million contractual. And essentially, part of their contractual obligation, or like rather potential, is that if Unknown Worlds hit a certain sale metric before the end of this year, Krafton would be on the hook to pay them $250 million in bonuses, which is an insane amount of money. But still, it's in the contract, right? It was a sales pitch to Unknown Worlds to get them to buy it into that contract, to my understanding. And essentially, it looked like Subnautica was about to go into early access to help push toward that number. And apparently, there was a real good chance they were going to hit that sales metric if they went to early access with Subnautica 2. And so Krafton sacked the three basically founders and, you know, high-level execs of Unknown Worlds and replaced them with their own to delay Subnautica 2 so they would not have to pay out that bonus. And it's kind of in a way like the punishment for dealing with the devil, right, of Krafton. But at the same time, it's super fucking sleazy, like sacking execs to delay the game on purpose so you don't have to pay out a bonus that you promised them as part of your selling pitch. Oh, did they actually reverse it? I know that like there was rumors about, like, I think a lawsuit going through, so maybe they're just doing it preemptively or trying to say it's not about the money. As of yesterday, Matt, I didn't realize they were actually willing to pay that out, so I'm very curious if that's changed since yesterday. Yeah, we'll look into it later. I would be surprised if Krafton paid it out, but like if they paid it out, that kind of does hurt Charlie's case against that, right? No, leave me alone. Basically a gamer. And I think it's just like, kind of like the same thing you see nowadays. It's like, it's a lot of the games are becoming very homogenous, right? The only real innovation you ever find is in indie games. I mean, Survivor, I agree with you in the sense that you need it for a motivational aspect to like drive people to engage in the economy slash, you know, develop things. But like, laissez-faire capitalism is a giant mistake. It's a race to the bottom, where the bottom is exploiting consumers and society. Controlled capitalism. But no, I generally agree with the ideology. Like, you need to like motivate people to actually engage in the economy, which capitalism does. Yeah, I didn't get into 33 at all. That's like not my genre of game at all, so. This map looks good. It just, I wish there was so much verticality on the map that I just wish I could use it, do more of it, right? Like, the map is insanely good looking. The biggest thing I want is I just want stuff over, like, I want to see like gunships moving about here, drone fights go on. I just want to see like things go. It's my critique for every map, right? I want stuff in the skybox going on. And I also like, I do wish this map had a bit more verticality. Oh, you can see the elevator move though. Yeah, I've never been a big fan of JRPG RPGs for that reason. And other reasons too, but. If it ever gets to the point where I feel like I'm playing filler, like perpetual filler for your game, to like the pad time, I just sign off immediately. That's kind of how why I didn't like Stalker 2 all that much. It felt like it was padding for time. Can you still get up here? Oh, did they fix it? Oh well. Yeah, at least Dark Souls has the plus side of Dark Souls is a good case gamer for almost for pacing purposes, right? Where there's plenty of spots in Dark Souls I feel like where it does a good job of slowing combat down a bit to not a crawl per se, but be less intense just for atmospheric purposes. This game has no breaks. Like I said, it's a race to the bottom, right? Leave me alone. I actually think Elden Ring did it worse. Don't get me wrong, I like Elden Ring, but Elden Ring definitely had the issue of relying. Elden Ring has the classic problem that all open world games has, where it's too big for its own good. It's just got a little bit too much recycled content, I feel like. Yeah, it's kind of pure chaos right now, though. Thankfully, you're able to take refuge for a bit and get outside. We should be okay now. I mean, I don't... Once again, I will always praise the original Stalker, right? But the original Stalker is by far my favorite paced game of all time. It's faux open world, right? So it's kind of open world, but not really. It's a bunch of open worldish segments connected together for a concise but not bloated experience, right? As opposed to having these connected filler areas that you had to put content in or just make interesting or just have there to be a void. It just made them loading areas, right? As opposed to act as filler. And the areas themselves, because they don't have to worry about filler areas connecting themselves to other areas, they're pretty dense with content, and there's not really an area of those small mini maps that are unused. There are still brief filler areas for pacing and for travel, but they never overstay their welcome, I feel like, at least in the base Stalker game. And I think that was a huge miss for Stalker 2, right? Stalker 2, the travel in that game feels fucking miserable. If they just removed a bunch of the open world areas in Stalker 2 and just connected those areas again with load screens, I imagine it would feel a lot better personally for me. I don't think the open world adds enough to the actual game. It's like an open world trap, and Elden Ring's the same way, right? Elden Ring had to rely on a bunch of formulaic content and templates to do Elden Ring, because you can't develop content fast. You can't develop bespoke enough content quick enough for a game of that size. It's impossible. Or rather, it's foolhardy. Maybe not impossible, but foolhardy. And in a way, I feel like this game has the exact opposite issue, where it actually does need a bit of that filler, right? Have you ever had a really rich dish where you need to actually balance it out a bit with something that's not as rich? It needs to be, I think, okay with it having some brief areas of actual not filler content, but pacing areas, right? All right, what are we doing this map? We haven't played Scorched yet. We haven't played Trenches yet, actually. Let's get some 50 cal going. That's one aspect too, Matt, I do agree with. It does need some, like, base management stuff too. I am, though, like, Matt, I'm ever so, like, kind of curious, though, right? Of, like, what is the right amount of intrusiveness for base management, right? Because it does feel like it's not something that everyone would vibe with. Hey, Delta, I'm doing well, thanks. How are you? Like, you want the base mechanic to feel like something that people want to engage and get rewarded from, but you don't want to make it so mandatory where it's like the people who don't give a shit have to do it. Also, is like night shift on this map like weighted super heavily, or am I just unlucky? It feels like you get night shift on this map a lot.
Your targets make every shot count.
Are you running away? Are you fleeing? Is he actually like running away? No, does he want to fight? Good luck pathing now. I think eventually, Foam, I think right now the biggest thing is, I imagine a lot of special units for Europa are probably like Spec Ops, and I imagine Spec Ops are probably a bitch to program, because it's basically just like really lethal infantry, right? Because we kind of do see that too, right, in the, what's it called? What's the thing about? Oh yeah, the quest for killing the Europa assassins. The quest kind of, like, kind of shows you that they're supposed to be cloaked, right? I'm not sure. Maybe? You go look at the weapon, or the unit like art, and perhaps there might be one in there that looks like European. But at the very least, right, we do know that eventually we're supposed to be like see like Spec Ops Europa assassins that have cloaks. All right, good there.
Work our way through.
Yeah, Massive Predator vibes. I still do hope they add more bounce to the guns, or more control. I miss the old recoil. I do not miss the old, like, what's it called? What was the issue with the old ADS? There was an issue with the old ADS, right? I do not miss that. I just only miss the actual recoil control of, like, the guns in the past, right? It was actually fun controlling those guns. Hey, John. Yeah, it went well. No issues as of yet. The only question raised, John, it's not an if, it's a when, of like, how often am I gonna have internet issues?
Look for gaps. Maybe.
Or, Jay, are you just referring to camera recoil though? I'll go actually go watch my old stream. Because I actually do not mind. Now, keep in mind, there's... When I say I want camera recoil, I don't mean this like camera, like, I mean very subtle camera recoil, right? Alright, we're gonna close this door. So, like, when there's some people who do not like camera recoil, I can understand that when the camera recoil is, like, pushing you really far off center, right? Oh, the barrel actually moved, okay. Oh, that's right, no, I remember now, yeah, Jay, you're 100% correct. But, like, what I would ideally want is, like, kind of like a mix of both, right? Where you have the weapon shake, the weapon recoil, where the recoil of the weapon jumps around a bit, but also, like, at a certain point, the camera moves too, right? Essentially, I want recoil that you feel and you can control. Like, right now, there's just no agency when you start shooting, right? It's just like... this is no mouse input, right? Like, there's bouncing around, but, like, it doesn't feel like it has weight to it at all, right? Like, the sound is there, the balance is probably not aggressive enough for my liking. It's probably fine, but it's like, as long as it had some like actual like recoil to it. I mean, your weapons are literally a laser, it's just like there's a slight cone to them. Helldivers 2 does both approaches, yeah. Helldivers 2 has a system where it does both. It has both camera recoil and it has what's it called, weapon recoil. So if you fire certain guns for long periods of times in Helldivers 2, your camera will shift, but it's only in like aggressive circumstances where it actually will shift. And then the recoil you mostly get in Helldivers 2 is mainly weapon recoil, where it bounces around, right? But it doesn't change your actual like your camera's pointing location. So like, for example, let me get out of here first. This is not a good area to be in. All right, up we go. I will say, I do like the fact that this map is mainly just cyborg based and not like special unit based. It means you can actually fight on night shift for once, which is nice.
Slip past.
It seems like there's some like nav issue. Like, is it like literally no? Here they come, okay. It's really wonky though.
No win, fight ahead.
But like, alright, so for like Helldivers 2, weapon recoil will have like the weapon bounce around and like the actual like reticle will move around and like your gun will shift, but it will never get to the point where like your actual I am occupied here, sir. It'll never get to the point where your actual like point of impact where your camera's pointing to will change. However, with like certain guns like the HMG, right, which are powerful enough, if you shoot long enough, it will actually begin moving your camera to your essentially your reset point, right? If you add no inputs to it. So like with very powerful guns, that you will actually get a degree of camera recoil where it will change where your camera is like basically looking at, but it's never to the point where it feels overly aggressive, where like you're going up to here with your camera. You might go up to here with your actual weapon recoil, but it won't move your camera, or where your character's basically pointing at. Oh no, yeah, grabbers are on this map, but they're not that common. They're not like ubiquitous like other night shift maps. Alright, probably time to leave.
Look for gaps. Maybe we can slip past.
Yeah, I will say it definitely is more complicated now because they have first and third person aiming. I don't think you could actually, like, in the current game, go to one or the other. Like, it's unfortunately it's like one of those things that's in the game currently, and it'll just be always be the case. Are we good? And that was a lot of fucking scramblers today. Foamy, I would like something like that, right? Like, I do think ever since Tarkov, right, multi-level maps has always been a very popular thing. Or multi-raid maps, or multi-raid in general. And that was always the grand, like, design with Tarkov too, right? Was all the maps connect. But, like, here we are, what, 7, 8 years later, and that's still not reality. Though I do think though too, like, if a game can add it, it would be a game like this, right? Where it's PvE and offline. I also do think too, like, unlike a game like Starfield, like, load screens are perfectly fine in a game like this, right? It's an indie game, like, they're not charging you AAA prices. I think if you want to put a load screen between certain areas, that's perfectly fine and well. Just like the whole, like, overall narrative that you're traveling between maps and have similar equipment is perfectly fine with me. I don't need you to dynamically, like, buffer in or load in certain areas as I move through stream areas as I move through them, right? It's perfectly fine to do load screens in a game like this. Especially considering too, like, load screens nowadays are fairly unintrusive because of SSDs, right? Very rarely will you actually have issues. New Lordo's cutscene. I don't think I've gotten to that point yet, no. I turned in all his stuff, but I think I'm still behind on, like, giving him cigarettes part of the quest. Yeah. I'll probably need to do that later. I did the main Lordo's quest on my alt account. So, yeah. This account did not have him fully leveled up, I believe. Yeah, I mean, like, 100% Foamy. Like, if they were going to pursue a game like that, like, they have to be willing to, like, not rely on load screens, right? Part of, like, the whole ambiance of, like, playing a spaceship game like that is, like, being able to go land on planets, right? And not just, like... It was also, like, it was a marketing faux pas, too, right? Like, you know, Todd Howard saying you can explore, like, 100+ worlds that are fully detailed. Or whatever like that. I can't remember what exactly he said, right? He said something that was, like, super out of pocket. That was just, like, an entirety of marketing spiel. It's been so long, I can't recall exactly what it was, but like, Todd Howard did not do that game's marketing any favors by saying what he said. Like, if your game's gonna have, like... I guess... If their point is like they want to basically mislead you to take more people, like, I can see the argument for not being forthcoming about it now in the sense of if we tell people the bad thing, it means they won't buy the game. But if we don't tell people the bad thing, they'll buy the game and only some of them will refund. Which is a very malicious way of going about it, right? It's kind of a shitty way of going about it, but if you don't really care about burning bridges. Yeah, like, I don't think load screens are, like, as bad as there was a period, right? Like, around actually, like, Half-Life 2 periods, see, gamer, where, like, I remember, like, Half-Life 2 load screens back in the day would actually take, like, a minute or 2 minutes. That was getting to the point of being, like, legitimately painful, of, like, having to wait a couple minutes to actually get to the next level of the game, as it loaded in, right? Because you were playing it on hard drives back in the day. Let's do... We've done Scorched it, I guess. But with SSDs now and like games being pretty streamlined for streaming content or assets, I don't think it's going to be an issue really if they just do some load screens here and there. Like going back to like the multi-level component, like say for example, if I don't have a problem, for example, if like say the bunker area under Ashen Mesa was its own separately loaded area. If for some reason, like performance-wise, they can't include it in the base, like Ashen Mesa level, I would much rather them just part it out to actually have it. And I would rather have it be load screens than not available at all, because they couldn't find a way to stream it into the level itself. And having those high-risk areas. Like, I imagine the bunker inside of Ashen Mesa would be like a high-risk area. It would be cool. You could do it that way too, Jay. Like, you could have it be the point too where, like, it is an airlock, you go inside, and when you activate the airlock takes as long as it takes to load into the next area. You could ground it like that also. So you basically have a transition zone where you unload the previous map and load the new map without it being a load screen, with it actually being a load screen. Or you could just be transparent too and literally just have it be a load screen. All right, there's an assaulter. I'm not gonna lie, the impulse is on these guns here. I can't remember, like, there's some system in UE5 that like promotes this or does this, but I feel like a lot of them are just, it feels like they're reacting to an explosion as opposed to like an actual weapon impulse. Still looks cool though. They just get really flingy, fly. Yeah, and I do think, like, right now, it's kind of why I do think they need to touch weight eventually, right? Or just weapon scarcity or item scarcity, right? Is like, I think a cool dynamic is kind of balancing your loadout for, like, longer runs. And, like, a key part of, like, not being that guy is you might need to be actually somewhat conservative with your ammunition, right? Like, if you blow all of your ammunition in the first raid, well, the next couple of raids, right, where you're going to this multi-map raid, you're kind of shit out of luck. Like, you might be low on ammo for the rest of the run, or, like, have no ammo at all, and you have to be stealthy or just run away at combat. Huh. I would probably place it around like a C or a B. The reasons why I would place it in B, because it's a very beautiful map that has some interesting patterns, and like it actually has some complexity in its pathing, which is nice. Like, that's why I would rate it a B. The reason why I would rate it a C is because despite all of the good things about it, it ultimately does. It has the same sins of a lot of other maps where it's really small and it doesn't have a good stratification of like high risk areas, right? Like, it's a map with little to no depth to it, despite having a rich complexity and the pathing. It's a bunch of really cool pathways and choices to go to certain areas, but those areas don't really have anything of any merit. So, like, that's why I would rate it to C, right? I'm leaning more into that.
A couple dozen more in the ground. It won't make a difference.
Basically, Michael. Also, like, it just feels weird to see, like, you know, for example, I'm carrying for come on, 263 kilograms, right? For those who are more into pounds, that's like what, 2.2 kilograms a pound. So that's like what we're getting up to, like around 600 pounds. That's not something an average person can carry. And sure, cybernetics, right? Like, considering Masked Man and like, let's just, for normal military purposes, there is a great concern on the weight of kit, because the more weight you add to soldiers, the less performative they can be and the less actual useful stuff they can bring, right? Like, ammunition's, that was a big issue, for example, of the, like, the next-gen weapon for the US military, is that they're going up in caliber, which means they can carry less. Because they are bound by the amount of weight a human can carry over long periods of time. I want to say it's like, what, someone correct me if I'm wrong, look it up, but it's like a little bit over 200 pounds they can carry. It's like full kit, like absolute full kit. And that's like all inclusive, right? It's like, you know, outfit, you know, armor, weapon, backpack, like ammo, weapon, like water and shit like that. I think it's like a little bit over 200 pounds is what they can at max carry over longer periods of time. And that's like hiking. That's not even like patrol gear. That's like hiking gear. Like you're deployed and need to carry your shit with you. So like we're already well above that. Oh, 100% Jay, like it does not need to be realistic, right? But it needs to be at least like somewhat grounded in proportionality, right? Like, I am not saying that, for example, like, we need to go to realistic values, but on a balancing perspective, right, should a single character be able to carry 1,000 rounds of ammunition, right, or even more? You can carry a lot of ammunition to certain characters.
I hope the bastards at home appreciate this.
Yeah, and we're kind of going back to the exact same paradigm, right? Where we're shifting back to the other direction. We want more stopping power, more armor piercing for like current gen armor. We're going to a bigger bullet. We're going back to the same thing. We're not carrying lots of ammunition anymore. Jay, I wouldn't mind overall too if they actually made ammo more damaging, but made enemies more damaging too. Like you just up the lethality a ton also. It does make combat very quick though, I will say. Like it drastically reduces the TTKs of units that don't take cover, right? I feel like if you made weapons more inaccurate and NPCs more inaccurate and added more recoil to weapons and up lethality a lot, it'd probably feel overall better. At least mentally in my head it does. All right, let's just do 5-4 fights. That's what I actually have lots of. We were gonna AK2, can actually see how much I have. Is this not the right rig? It is. All right. So in one of these slots, I can carry 600 rounds of ammunition. And I will say, like, out of all of the characters, like, Bagman should be able to carry the most. He is cybernetic, or, like, clearly, like, modified. That's, like, not a big mental hurdle. But, like, from a balancing perspective, right, should he be able to carry this much ammo? Can someone math out to me the amount of ammo, like... Wait, let's extrapolate here. So 2K, 4K, and like even conservatively, if we add 2K, 4K, we'll say like 5, 6K. How much weight is 6,000 rounds of 5.45? Once again, it doesn't need to be realistic in regards to like what characters can use in game. It just needs to be proportional and balanced correctly, right? It doesn't need to be grounded, but stylized is fine. The more important like aspect is it's proportional. Really, that's not that much, I would think.
Let's roll out.
Is that, I'm assuming that's just the base ammunition weight and not just like the carrying things too. Also, from a volume perspective, also, right? Like these should probably take up a lot more volume than they currently do, right? I guess you could probably store 2,000 rounds of ammunition in these containers, but like, I don't know. I feel like you wouldn't want them to be loose either, though, right? 100% survivor. Like I said, for any character that can actually carry this stuff, like I don't have a problem like that Bagman can carry this. It's more in the sense of like making it proportional to other players and balancing it right from a gameplay perspective. Like, how do you make ammo feel scarce if you can just carry this much of it? You could make it rarer, right? But like, would it make a lot of sense for enemy infantry to like have basically no ammo when you loot them? I think it's just more of like, dead. Hey, leave me alone. I mean, maybe. I think it's more Delta just like making the rigs not able to carry as a fuckload as much. Like you basically need to sit down, open up an Excel sheet, and like balance characters and ammo and weapons, right? Yeah, that's one thing too for sure. Also, just like the key problem though is like you basically need to have like standardized ammo for like the 3 factions that you can find a lot of, but isn't that useful, like ball ammo, right? Because like you can't, it feels really off-putting when you have this massive war going on and you like see these soldiers firing infinitely at each other and you go kill one and loot one and they have like a bullet of 5.56 on them, right? It doesn't feel right. So like you have to have the actual NPCs here carry, you know, at least decent amount of ammunition, right? At least, you know, 30, 60 rounds at least. And you make that ammo lethal, right? But just don't make it very effective versus armor, I guess. Or there's other ways of balancing it too. It's kind of why I like the Scar for the Europa faction so much, because you can give the player endless amounts of 50 cal, but the threat attached to that gun plus its inability to be silenced is actually a fair counterpoint, right? It's like, here, you have all of this 50 cal, but how useful do you find an unsilenced gun? Yeah, it does. Like you can make rounds like that more useful, but like rarer, right? So you can have your bog standard bulk ammunition, but when it comes to actually dealing with specialist enemies or high tier enemies, you might actually need that specialty ammo.
Bagging it up.
Yeah, I mean, like, the concern is, I think, bloat. They're right, we don't need Tarkov levels of ammunition, right? Where we have like 20 different rounds for 5.45. I think just like basic like ball, like, you know, standard AP and then like I guess like non-AP, or like standard AP and then utilitarian or utility ammo, right? Like maybe Balanced traders? God, that's a complex issue. Hey. Did he just, was that a brawler? That had to be a brawler, right? My HP just went away. All of the 545. I got detracted by the trader conversation. Yeah, Jingle, it's kind of like how I feel is like, you know, the ammunition you should find off like enemies in the open is basically mostly surplus ammo. And then you would find like maybe useful ammo, but much rarer. And the surplus ammo wouldn't be good. Like, and that's like, yeah, it's a lot. But traders, traders get into a rabbit hole because the way I would balance traders is requires other like kind of reworks in a way, or other considerations, right? Like if I had to balance traders right now in a vacuum with no other considerations at all, it'd be a bit hard or weird. Yeah, that's a good option too, like, because I know surplus is like very, like, it does the same damage as regular ammo, but it's very inefficient from a weight perspective, right, and volume perspective. Which is a perfectly fair way of doing it, but like, I don't know. A lot of this is just like sitting down and kind of figuring out like what you would want to. Like a lot of these problems aren't really like there's only one solution to the problem. It's more of like, where do you want to go with it kind of problem, right? Because like where you want to go with it kind of clues in like the actual design, right? All right, let's do an elephant. I haven't done an elephant in a while. Bring some shotgun ammo though, just in case. No, it's just, I don't think Reggie's here, which is good. The VKS is just an awful gun. It's got no reason to exist in the game currently. Yeah, it's low fire, low damage, low capacity. You spend more time reloading that gun than firing it. So it's like, it's really just one of those guns where like, if you vibe with the whole aesthetic of a VKS, sure. I think it's supposed to be bolt action too, right? Yeah, no, there's a lot of that too, I will say. And that comes, like, I think around too of just making the guns like have very stylized recoils or like mechanics behind them. Because it makes them feel unique and interesting, right? It doesn't have to be realistic. I have no medicine at all. Actually, let me bring some cigarettes too, just in case. Cigarettes. Yeah, is it, John, overly like a bad thing though? Should you always, like, in the current iteration of the game, sure, but like, I don't feel like relying on an outside resource is very scavengery. Well, we pick up cigarettes for a quest. Do not use cigarettes in raid. All they do is drain your HP and then prevent you from healing during their effect. No, they do the opposite. They hurt you. Cigarettes kill. Don't smoke, kids. You will die in game. So they're supposed to buff, I think, your accuracy, if I recall correctly, but like not to any substantial degree. Essentially, I think the theory is like you're sniping and like they want you to smoke one real quick so you can like get better shot accuracy. That's kind of the mental picture I got going from like how it all works. Now, does it sound fun to like have to pop a cigarette to kill an enemy from far away? No, but like from a rule cool factor, it sounds fun. Or cool, rather. All right, let's find a little civilian over here. I mean, the Rat King is... Have we... When was the last time we saw the Rat King? Rat King doesn't exist. Rat King died. I killed the Rat King. I imagine we will survive her. I think we're getting drip fed, basically. Did I just hear a swipe? Okay, it's from a cyborg. Nope, there's a grabber. So it might just be like a direct reference to Metal Gear then, I guess. If we don't look, it doesn't exist. I have not yet discovered object permanence yet. Hey, how's it going? Which guy new? Referring to Payback? Yeah, Payback you can spawn on a few different maps.
Just what I needed in my life.
Wait, really? That's not a great sign considering I think object permanence is like usually a thing. I want to say it's 3? It's 3 or 4 years old, I think, for children to usually get object permanence down. I want to say 3, though. Oh, is it 8 months? Is it really that early? Okay. That was a little bit later than that.
Everyone for themselves.
Oh, because I yelled at them for it. I didn't even yell at them, but like it was, they asked me what was like a big issue in the game, and I said, the fact that you can't cancel reloads. For the amount of scenarios where the game puts you into the point where you want to switch guns when you're reloading, like, yeah, it needs to be a feature. And now it's a feature. So essentially, this is the culmination of me complaining. You're welcome.
Eyes on us. Spread out.
And I tentatively, I will say this, I have already given them the other major pain point after that. I won't say what it is yet, because I think that's spoiler territory, but it's an issue I've harped about a lot on stream. You're free to guess or have fun guessing. Because there are so very many of them.
As long as I'm the last one standing.
That's more, that's being forgetful as opposed to just like literally thinking things don't exist when you can't see them anymore. Like, you know they're around somewhere. No object permanence means you forget that they ever existed, basically, when they're not in front of you.
Check those corners.
I'm sorry. Oh god, the world's longest thing. We're good, we're okay. I don't know. No, stop it. No! I just want to play the game. I don't deserve this. Ah. Oh my god, it's a death spiral. That was genuinely a death spiral. Remember that talk we had like 3 to 4 weeks ago of like death spirals and stun locks? that is a prime example of a death spiral. That is why you need to be very cautious about. It was not actually, because I didn't play this patch for like maybe 1 or 2 times. Don't worry, I did raise the concern of like, hey, yeah, be very careful with this because death spirals are bad. Like, I'm perfectly fine laughing that off. What just happened would make lots of people just quit the game on the spot. And like, I can't blame them for that. The player, that is, not the, you know, devs. Anyway. Yeah, that is like by all, like, that is a classic experience of a death spiral, right? Where at like no point once you enter that spiral does it feel like you have agency, and it just gets worse and worse and worse as the exo gets closer and closer. I think it wasn't just the exo too. It was also just the fact that we were in an area with like absolutely no cover, so yeah, it was fucked. It felt like for the first or second time, there was a recovery period where we weren't instantly staggered again or knocked down again, but it felt like the more perpetually we got knocked down, it wouldn't reset that maybe? I mean, it goes into the whole iframe thing, right? I think players are okay with like dying, but like a long drawn out spiral like that isn't fun. Like if you find them fun, that's perfectly fine. I would say you're highly in the minority then. In my vast times DMing D&D, I have rarely, if ever, found players who actually enjoy death spirals. They're usually okay with them as long as it's very clear that you're being fair to them, and then like you might have one enemy that can produce one as opposed to like several whites. But like it's something you use seldomly to put the fear of God into them, not something you have as a core mechanic of a game. Like, for the most part, I will, generally speaking, only put very few instances of, like, stat drains and NPCs. Because stat drains are a death spiral. And, like, in an instance like that, it's one of the scenarios, right, where I'd rather have the iframes be gone. Because, like, if it's gonna kill me anyway, just get it over with quickly, right? Don't make me like kind of feel like I have a sense of agency. I mean, maybe a co-op consideration, your teammate can distract for you is why it's like that, but I don't know. False hope. I mean, if you had teammates, they might be able to distract for you or do something like that. Like, that could be a plus side of having a long, lengthy kill like that. I would much rather just have a shorter iframe period, though. We actually need to get most requests done, at least, I think. Stairway time, stairway time. I would rather be turned to red mist by the 20mm autocannon on its hand than like just constantly stagger locked by it.
I'm too old for this shit.
One day I'll get night shift this map again. Wait, is my coat all like dirty again? Huh. Neat. Maybe. I mean, like the Exo does like have a pretty. It's not like that agile. I feel like if you could just like get its attention away for a second, I feel like with 2 to 3 players, you could definitely fuck with it enough to the point where it wouldn't kill any of you.
All kinds of bad overhead.
100%. Like, and I do think it's in the game. It just felt kind of weird because it felt like we or guy or I guess Guy that like the longer it went on, the less of a window we had to get out of it. Maybe. Daniel, it felt like we actually had that on the first or second time, but by the third or fourth, it was gone. So I'm kind of concerned if that's just more of a bug as opposed to how things are supposed to be. Because like I am sure they added in some buffer so you can't get staggered while you're already staggered, right? This castle. It's got a pretty decent gameplay loop right now. It needs more depth to it, which is kind of like the prevailing theme here, but it's definitely a good little demo. Hopefully more to come. God, they're so fast. What the? Yeah, 100% Daniel. Like that's, I would say like what you're describing is pretty indicative of how I feel most, or how I've seen most players feel. And by all, it's a generalization, right? It's not every single player feels like this, but like most players don't generally seem to enjoy having like, I'm not saying they don't enjoy cool deaths, but they don't want that cool death to like be drawn out for an extended period of time, right? Especially in a game that's punishing. Like, they're already going to feel bad that they're gonna die. Do they need to feel even worse by the game taunting them in a way? Over a long period of time, right? Like, you know, that like minute-long period of a death spiral. Yeah, it's a pretty big bug, for sure. Hopefully that they're fixing, because, like, I definitely think newer players, in a way, like, it's really hard to expect newer players to, like, get used to the AI when they do random shit like that. Like, take pot shots at you, right? It kind of, like, if a player is trying to understand the rules of the game and how the AI works, for them to just sporadically and uncontrollably break that rule with his pot shots, it means the players, or like players can't learn, or it's much more difficult to learn. I think it's more, John, it's actually more based that if you're in between two units fighting, if you're closer, it will generally end up targeting you quite a bit of the time. So like, say for example, Unit A is fighting Unit B and they're 10 meters away. If you're within that 10-meter radius, like closer to them, they will occasionally target you instead. Only for a brief second or two, but they will do it. But like, that can be enough to do a lot of damage to you and trip you up on what the hell's going on. No, 100% Daniel, that's what I'm basically saying in the sense like that's something that needed to fix, right? Like, I'm not against the idea of pot shots, but it needs to be grounded in a mechanic, not because of a bug. Because like, it's impossible to like onboard players like that, right? How do you teach players how to be stealthy when sometimes enemies will just ignore the fact that you're being stealthy and shoot at you anyway from pot shots? All right. That's it for today, everyone. I know shorter stream today because I was just getting things set up, all, you know, all that good stuff. But Monday next week should be back to normal stream schedule. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'll be streaming on Twitch too because I think everything went well today. No big issues at all, so that's great. We'll try out Monday with Twitch also. We'll see how that works. Other than that, have a good weekend. I'll probably start working on a new script this weekend too for actual like factual video. Other than that, take it easy. Bye all. Have a good weekend, and I will see you all later.